you can never really know where a person sits unless they actually tell you. Criticizing other positions can often be used as a means to suggest the positions one holds without actually offering an alternative. Like, and I'm not naming names here, if your channel is exclusively dedicated to shitting on people who are doing anti-racist like messaging and shitting on people who are doing like anti-Nazi messaging, and you're always making fun of them for being hysterical SJWs, and you never actually clarify your positions, but you're really, really anti-Nazi, yeah, you know? Actually, I think that's probably, and I should clarify for chat really quickly. When Shu's saying like, she doesn't do the, I'm not like the other leftists, this is why the left is crazy. I have done the same fucking thing in the past. I have criticized the left in the same broad language. What she's saying is, like, she doesn't do, like, the grift shit, like the Tim Pool stuff, where her channel is dedicated to, like, ascribing positions to the left to condemn them without clarifying alternatives, which is usually ends up being like a right-leaning grift. You know what I mean?
I would always call it like pop feminism and stuff like that. Like I would try not to like broadly smear anything, although I've probably done it in the past, but like I always like try to clarify like, oh, this is a minority of people, like this is not all hashtag not all, like stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. I actually I want to talk to you about that. The most aggressively I guess mocking content you've made in your channel tends to be directed towards feminism. How do you feel about feminism, broadly speaking?
Broadly, like I've never gone after like intersectional feminism or anything like that, because I don't, people are always like, why doesn't she go after like this or that? And it's just because like I don't think that's a terrible thing. I usually just critique, I guess you would call it white feminism, although I don't really like that term.
I usually say second wave feminism, but yeah, either way, it's also very white. So whatever you prefer to go after,
like TERFs and whatever, fucking like the pop, I guess pop feminism, just like this stuff that kind of isn't really good at all. And like I think of it as like lassoing in like the libs and being like, hey, this isn't actually equality, what you're doing sucks, what are you doing? I see it in that perspective, but like I don't think like, you know, advocacy for making like tampons and stuff have no tax on them is bad. I don't think like advocacy for like breastfeeding in public or like stuff like that, like feminism, like I don't think is, like I've never called myself an anti-feminist.
Yeah.
I always used to clarify that I'm just critical of it. But
yeah, no, I mean I agree, and I'm saying the remnants of second wave feminism or bourgeois feminism or liberal feminism or whatever derogatory term people prefer to use with it have led to some pretty disgusting political state of affairs where people feel as though they're condemning feminism broadly because of the excisions of these like the worst elements of it, like you said,
yeah, like
BuzzFeed feminism.
Like the more female CEOs feminism.
More female CEOs, more female drone pilots. The man-spreading shit took up like 6 months of the United States collective media life for something incredibly fucking irrelevant. The type of feminism that's legit just... I'll say it. I can fairly say this. There are some feminist outlets that are kind of fucking man-hating. That actually... do that shit. That will be like, oh yeah, you want to be a woman? Listen, men can't do this. Men are shit. Like, okay, are we nailing this feminism thing right now?
Yeah,
or are we doing like pop articles for bitter like white women in the suburbs?
Yeah, it's like, I don't know what it is. I don't know what you would call it. Like, I have no idea what type of feminism it is, but I hate it. I've always hated it. And even now, coming across it, like, with the elections, you see it, like, you know, vote for Warren because she's a woman. You know, shit like that, like the ID poll, I've always been relatively very much against identity politics.
It depends. Yeah, it depends on where you go with it, right?
Yeah.
Because there's id poll where like identity is super, you know, president. Well, obviously they need to be a woman. They need to be black, like that kind of stuff. And then you have id poll, which is more of a like a broader, like intersectional label, like a broader
Mm-hmm.
recognition, like, hey, people get shit on for a wide variety of reasons. If we look at the
Yeah.
plurality of these systems, we can maybe figure out solutions to addressing them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a really important distinction. Like, for example, like if ID poll, in my opinion, is when like you'll see somebody have a really terrible take online, and then you'll be like, "Hey, that's stupid," and they're like, "How dare you say that to a woman?" Like that's kind of like, what does you being a woman have to do with it? Like, so yeah, ID poll's bad. Like the new leader of Bolivia is a woman, and like fucking people were unironically on Twitter like, yes, the first female.
Our first lady fascist. Okay,
Yeah.
nice. Do you stand Evo Morales, by the way?
That's the guy who got
Who got
the coup?
ousted? Yeah, who got coup?
Yeah. Yeah, he's cool. I like him.
Bless.
That was, that was crazy though. I actually learned all that from you, the coup and everything, and then I told Greg about it, and he was like freaking out because the lithium theory you have that now Elon Musk is like powering his Cybertruck from the lithium in Bolivia. Didn't
They are
you have
actually
that
using
theory?
the ground up bodies of Bolivian
Yeah.
children in the fucking fuel for those trucks. I'm telling you, it's gonna come out in 20 years when the fucking NSA declassified documents leak. Oh god, I okay, wait.
Yeah, it was,
To return back to the earlier topic, I know this is something that I've heard amongst some of the fans I have who I guess actually watch your content rather than just sort of hear about it from a distance. It's that I think they would. This sounds so fucking sanctimonious. What I've heard a lot is I think there are a lot of people who recognize that your bent on anti-feminism is pretty explicitly against the elements of feminism that like I think most reasonable left-leaning people would also shit on. That I guess they're interested in hearing you like adulate or congratulate like intersectional feminism more. So you have a strong sort of central position or an alternative that you could offer to people who agree with you about not liking those silly elements of feminism, but don't really know where to go next, you know?
Well, like I've clarified that in a few videos that
You
there's
have,
like
yeah.
that there's, you know, feminism that isn't like a turf or a wine ant. But yeah, I don't know what else I could
Oh
do.
no,
I
that's
guess.
just what I hear a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Because
Okay.
I haven't done like a fucking cross sectional analysis of your video. I don't have like a
All
ratio in
right.
front of me or anything. But yeah, no. I think okay, because I remember there are 2 times during my life that I've like really gone through your content, like really watched it, and one of them is now over the past like 6-7 months or so, and the other one was back in 2017. And back in 2017, I watched a lot of your content. Obviously, it was very different to how it was now. And the contrast between those 2 time periods is pretty fucking astonishing. But I guess I would have to go back over like the older stuff to see how much of whatever perceptions I may have are being influenced by older iterations of your content that are no longer a fair representation of what you're still saying today.
Well, everything on my channel now, like I've unlisted a few videos that are just so bad that I don't want them up. Like they're just cringe. But everything right now that's up, I'm pretty like I'm not. It's not terrible. Like some things might have aged poorly, but like there's nothing there that is bad. Like
No, right, yeah.
I recently unlisted an entire video because I had the hottest take about the media. I was like, yeah, like all the media is
The
left
Jews?
wing. All the media is left. No.
Okay, I don't know. Just
I was
making
like,
sure.
no, in
Fucking
the video, I'm
monkeys.
like CNN and MSNBC, they're left. And like now I just can't even listen to that. I'm like, no, that's not true.
I think it's pretty honorable of you to unlist the old content, by the way. A lot of people just let that
Well,
shit like sit there, even if they disagree with it currently, because it's still collecting ad revenue.
yeah, it's just I don't know. Like if I'm fine with cringing at a few things, but if I can't even bear to watch a video of mine because the takes are so hot, like I need like it's gone.
You know what really sucks about the pipeline for like left leaning people versus right leaning people?
What?
For you, if you keep up all your old videos, some people might watch them and take from them political positions you would now disagree with. and like you don't want that, so you enlist them.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're someone like Sarkon, who's only gone further right with time, if someone stumbles on their older videos, like the earliest like anti-feminism videos, it serves as like an introduction to the fucking crazy shit that's being said now. You know, it's like, so because it goes in one direction for them, so they can keep up stuff they currently disagree with because it's not extreme enough, because it still helps you slide into the new stuff. Which isn't the case for people in our positions, I think.
Yeah, like I don't know, like all my videos up right now, like I don't think they're like, if people could watch them, like there's nothing. I'm always coming from a liberal perspective. I'm never like feminism is destroying the nuclear family. Like it's always like, hey, like this isn't, I don't think this is what equality is. How about we tone it down a bit, like shit like that. Like that's not how you be liberal. Like that's like most of my takes. But there are definitely people who go the complete opposite, or like, oh, feminism is destroying the nuclear family, like women aren't having babies anymore, like they just go down
the
that
Stefan Molyneux
and then,
give me your eggs approach
and like
discourse.
when this, like I don't understand, I'm sorry, like I don't think people understand like what the anti-feminist thing was like early on. Like when I first started in 2014, this was like pre-Gamergate. There was no one talking about this, and I didn't know anybody online. I didn't know there was like a community or anything like that. And I just kind of uploaded my first video. If you watch the first video, like it's really cringe, but it's kind of like, it's so dated for its time. Like if people look back on it now, like they'll just be like, what is this? Like this is the most basic shit I've ever heard in my life. But back then, like nobody was talking about it, and I just posted that video to vent because I was like, well, there's these crazy people calling themselves like feminists and they're being snowflakes, blah, blah, blah. Like,
the political the climate has
and,
changed so much over the past 5 years.
Yeah. And like, I didn't think that was political at all when I uploaded that stuff. Like, I didn't see that as political for the longest time, even up till like 2 years ago. I didn't see what I was doing as political. I was just like, oh, this is just apolitical. Any idiot can point this stuff out. So when I started being called like right wing and stuff, that was really confusing to me for pointing out this stuff, because I'm like, no, I voted for Obama, guys. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like,
I guess.
so
yeah.
like the atmosphere back then like was completely different.
Yeah,
than it is now.
I think
like,
back then people weren't as keen on the. Some people still pretend not to be keen, like at all. But I think most people know, or even if they pretend not to, that the whole of your political content is what you produce plus the implications that lead from it. And you can never really know what the implications are until you know the climate in which the content is being released. Like, for example, like, okay, here's one. Remember that Red Dead for Two Dead YouTuber guy, and he did videos of him killing like the suffragettes.
yeah.
Right. So 10 years ago in 2009 YouTube, if somebody did a video like that, that would be like, wow, ha 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 ha. But they did it in the past year, and this turned into a media spectacle where he was declaring like the autonomy of men's rights against the tyrannical feminazis, and far-right groups actively started sharing his content because he was like dragging a suffragette in a video game to a gator in a video game. And like, how did we get at this point?
I don't know.
I feel like now you can make make fucking political bents on anything. You could go and make fucking Super Mario like Kaizo levels, like the mods and stuff, and you could go and make those, and somehow you could like dog whistle in them. It's insane how fucking saturated the content has become. You know?
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah. It's honestly very stressful, I think, for people who produce any kind of content at all.